Chapter 7. Nobody really knows what the government is. Some say it's one big juicy fart, right out of the devil's anus, right there smack dab in the big nasty crack with a pissed off devil with small dates, way over in vagina. But people are by nature very superstitious, so they'd like to believe all kind of stuff. But most people didn't really care, just as long as they are getting stuff. Not much, just a little stuff, because all mankind need a tiny little stuff up his butt, because stuff up the butt makes mankind feel good. And for a great long time, the government has controlled the flow of stuff up the butt of all man and woman. And Jack was a natural-born butt-pounding son of a gun, and they sent him to the best schools, and he learned from the best. And Jack was really good. They say that before he was 10, he'd snuck the TV you're watching up your asshole without you'll notice. This was Jack's world. A crazy world. Why humanity got to that point in their development as a species might ask for a further explanation. Maybe a little prehistoric analysis will help. In early start of mankind, all men were homos. They were all hanging out in homo caves and stuff, and had a lot of butt sex, and decorating the walls, being homos and stuff. They really loved butt sex back then. A basic thing about butt sex is that either you give or you take, and man came out two ways. Some were benders, and some were pounders. Nobody knows why. Some just like to take it in the butt, with all the tickling and stuff. And some just like to pound that nasty little brown-eyed crack face right smack dab in the middle. That's a fact. And back then, them cave dudes were really nice and careful when it came to butt sex, because they really did love all that butt sex. A universal rule in gay caving is that the pounders are jacking the benders while pounding, for lending their asshole. That's common cave sense. So while the benders was getting pounded and jacked off, maybe with a little nut scratch, they had both hands free. So they did all the cooking and firewood and stuff, and decorating homo caves, and learned how to make stuff, while the pounders gently gave them a good backdoor hump, maybe with a little nut tickler, with great respect for all cavemen and women. And since mankind always liked a good doggy style, naturally the pounders had the best overview, because benders can't see shit while bending. So pounders were in charge, and was looking out for dangerous lions, while the benders were making stuff, decorating homo caves with pretty flowers and weird animals with all kinds of stuff up their butt. And everybody was happy. And that was the beginning of all mankind. Back at that time they really respected each other's buttholes, and they all had a real good laugh, and butt sex. The secret was respect. Those brave cavemen having sex in the butt, all over the place, knew when the benders say stop, the pounder stops. Benders have a butt limit. At some point they just can't take no more up their butt. But the pounders also realized that it had some advantages to be in the pounding position, and as long as he could keep it there, with the overview and all, he would be in charge. And the pounders really did love to be in charge. It made them feel good inside. So back in those days, when the benders wanted to take a break from work and butt stuffing, and got that crazy idea that they too wanted to stand up to see what's going on, the pounder shouted, "Wild animal," or something. So the benders got really scared and bended all the way over so they couldn't see shit. That was a really great idea to use fear, because fear has all those little nasty children that can be used in all situations. But the pounders needed a more permanent condition, and they really thought long and hard. But finally they came up with a great solution, the best idea ever: religion. A genius plan. If the Pounders hired a guy who could tell the Benders that if they didn't do as they were told, he would come sneaking up on them in the middle of the night and rip off arms and legs of little baby girls. So they found themselves a guy who'd fit the job description, and his name was God. He wasn't that clever, but he was really scary, and he could shout real loud. And God started right away chopping off limbs of anyone who dared to look up to see what's going on. And he had a helper. A little nasty son of a bitch with pube hair all over the face and down his chin. And all the Benders got mega scared and worked harder than ever. And the poor Benders really missed the old days in the Homa caves with sweet butt sex and respect for all mankind, and pretty flowers on the wall. But the Pounders got them by the nuts, and they were really scared and mega sad. But the Pounders couldn't have sweet butt sex all the time. Pounders have a dick limit. But he learned that as long as they were bending and making stuff, they won't know what's going on. So they had a Pounder meeting and came up with a genius plan: stuffing, to simulate nice sweet butt sex, with great respect for all humanity, and to keep Benders in a bending position. They started stuffing all kinds of stuff up the Benders' assholes. And first Benders thought it was kinda nice, and they couldn't really feel the difference between a Pounder penis and a reindeer. Or it could be a teapot, or a bicycle. It didn't really matter. And the Benders couldn't really see what was going on. They just thought it was really nice, being homos and all. So now the Pounders knew that as long as he could satisfy his brother caveman with any kind of stuff up his anus, he would be in charge, so he could make big important cave decisions. But they had a problem, because the only one who made stuff were Benders. But Pounders are smart. They came up with the best solution ever: money. The best idea the Pounders ever had. Now the Benders could be motivated to make more stuff, because with money, the Benders could buy a nice little hat or something, because they were all super gay. So now the Pounders could buy the stuff the Bender had made and stuff it back up their asshole while bending, with a profit, with their own homemade piece of paper with nice pictures on. It was built on a very simple principle: like all great ideas, the more you bend over, the more money you'll get. And with those money you could buy the stuff back you just made. And Benders like stuff, especially pretty stuff, so they could look pretty. Now they were homos and all. So the plan was: if you bend over when we need you to, we'll give you just quite enough money to buy yourself a nice little hat. And if you're really good at bending all the way down, we'll give you more money, so you can buy a really big hat. And if you're really good, I mean a 24/7 backdoor mutilation over several years, we'll almost make you think you're one of us. So basically, the world had become a place where the Benders made stuff, handled it to the Pounders who stuck it back up the Benders' anuses. And the Pounders were real creative and constantly inventing new tricks to sneak stuff up people's butts, and Benders worked their asses up to buy all the stuff back they just made. The Pounders really loved sticking stuff up people's butts. It could be a parasol or a space rocket. It didn't matter, as long as the Benders were bending. But they had a problem with the butt limit. It was a really bad design. Pounders needed them to stay in that bending position to obtain maximum power. But too much stuff make a sore asshole. That's a fact. Benders were not that stupid. They just didn't know much, because they couldn't see shit.